Welcome back to the Auto Insider, where you come to find out what's new, what's hot, and what's not in the automotive industry. This week, we have this 2023 Cadillac Escalade V, 682 horsepower of pure luxury and adrenaline. If you've ever looked for the best of both worlds, this is probably the answer. Well, let's go inside and let's see what that's like before we see what it's like on the road. And as you can see, Cadillac does not disappoint. Everything that we've come to expect from the Escalade as the premier full-size luxury SUV, you have it here in this Escalade V. So you got 682 horsepower, but you also have cooled console. You can put your drinks in here, keep them nice and cold. Massaging seats. Beautiful burl wood here throughout across the dash. This curved OLED instrument cluster, the first of its kind. People have copied it, but nobody has done it quite like Cadillac. And then this panoramic roof. Light shines in. You want everybody to see you driving a truck like this. I often talk a lot about instrumentation and the instrument cluster. Here we have controls for your heating and AC, automatic climate control. We can also control things here from this knob, choose home, and we can go back to the standard Cadillac instrument display. But here, we can navigate through with this knob. So when we talk about simplicity meeting technology, Cadillac has you covered. Volume control. So everything is right where you need it when you're driving. And of course, this is a luxury family full-size SUV. You need all of the modern conveniences. Things like Apple CarPlay that wirelessly connect when you get in the vehicle. You also have controls here on the steering wheel, volume, move through your menus on the dash, heated steering wheel, smart cruise control. You can also turn on and off speaker talk. Not sure if you can hear it now, but when I turn that off, conversation enhancement is off. I push this button, a vehicle this big, it enhances the volume of your voice so that people in the second and third row can hear what you're saying. Parents, I know you can understand that. They always act as though they can't hear you, but with this, there's no denying. Also, I don't know if this is a necessity or not, but when you're gonna spend $150,000 on a full-size luxury SUV, it needs to be impressive. Here on this curved OLED instrument cluster, you have the ability here to put the augmented reality information screen right here in your line of sight. At night, you turn on night vision. It will then highlight in red any moving life form that's on the road, gives you an opportunity to avoid accidents. You also can get your map here. So as you're driving, it will dynamically tell you exactly where you are. And then we go back to our standard instrument cluster gauges. Here on the side, we can choose different modes of driving. So we have sport, snow and ice, tow and haul. Yes, you can tow things with this 682 horsepower SUV. Then you have touring mode. We have chosen to keep it in the snow mode, the sport mode, the entire time we've driven it. Just can't resist. When it's in sport mode, you can make adjustments here. You can make the vehicle feel the way you want. So you can customize it. When we go to sport mode, you can decide if you want this vehicle to be loud, quiet, you want it to make a lot of noise, what do you want it to do? So we can go in and we can adjust the steering feel, suspension feel, V mode, brake feel, engine sound, and all-wheel drive. We talked about this cooling box here in the center console, so it can be used for regular storage, but when you want to keep your beverages cold, here you have really cold and off. So you can use it any way you like. So through the week around town, throw your goodies in there. Going on a road trip, nice place for a 6-pack of ice cold water. More cup holders, more storage, USB-C, and standard USB charger. This is a wireless charging port for your smartphones Must admit, I've tried it a few times. It doesn't keep the phone charging always, but it was a good try. And I wish you all could partake in the audio quality. If you're an audiophile, this Cadillac Escalade will not disappoint. There's speakers along this Alcantara headliner all the way down to the A-pillars. And then you also have speakers here in the seat. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference, but it does actually make you feel like you're a lot closer to the music. But now let's make our way to the second row. If you're buying a full-size SUV, whether it's $150,000 or not, it has to be comfortable and it has to keep the little ones busy. And these captain's chairs don't disappoint. They're just as comfortable as the front seat with almost as much functionality. Now, they're not power, but they are adjustable. And they thought of everything. The way this cup holder slides away keeps the back seat neat. And then, when it comes to charging their devices, there are multiple options for your little ones. Leg room, no problem. Second or third row. But now let's talk about the practicality of an Escalade V. Sure, it sounds good going down the road. Sounds even better on the highway. You're not gonna always be in a VIP upfront valet parking setting. Sometimes you gotta get the kids to soccer, volleyball, tennis, baseball, whatever you do when you buy a full-size SUV. So it's gotta be easy to access, right? Let's check out this third row. Now, we have tested some SUVs that are a little bit easier to access the third row, but none have any more room than we have in this one. And let's keep in mind, this isn't even the ESV. This is the standard length of the Escalade, and there's plenty of room back here for an adult. And while you're back here, there are some amenities. While we don't have the TV monitors here in this third row, we do have USB charging ports, one for each side, and we have a couple of cup holders here. There's good room, seats are pretty comfortable, good headroom, we have our own AC vents back here to keep us cool. And when it's time to exit, there is a power option to get us out. Let's check it out. This rope folds up out of the way, and we're out. If you have a small child that still rides in a car seat, this is very difficult to get in and out with this seat this way. However, you do still have a path here with these captain's chairs that allow small people to get around without having to fold this seat up. But for us adults, night out in the town, this is great access. Another piece of practicality, you have to be able to access the cargo area. You know, we got bags, balls, shoes, backpacks, duffel bags, hands are full. How do we get in? Sure, it's beautiful, but it's nothing like beauty meeting function. And speaking of function, I like this one too. You don't always want to have to open the tailgate, and you don't have to. And in the words of my beautiful and intelligent mother, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Now, keeping in mind that we have the shorter of the Escalades, this isn't the ESV, so you're not going to have some ton of cargo space here behind this third row seat. If you want that, you go with the ESV. But this will compete well with any other full-size SUV in its class. So next on practicality is we're back here. We have the power lift gate. It sounded great pulling up, but now I got to take a couple of extra things home, and I don't need this third row seat. So it's one thing to have power folding third row seats, but ones that work with this type of efficiency is unmatched. I don't know when I've ever seen a third row fold away this quickly on an SUV. Now there's enough room for anything that you need. And if you have to carry someone extra, you still have another seat you can let down. Ride your passengers here. All of a sudden it's a 3-passenger full-size SUV. And then it comes back up just as quick. When you're paying this kind of money for a car, I'm sure time is always of the essence. And I think it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Of all the vehicles I've tested over the last 10 years, and we're talking about upwards of 40 vehicles a year, this Escalade takes the cake. Don't know if I've ever driven a vehicle that I felt like was hotter than this Escalade V. And at first, the size can be a bit intimidating, and you might not imagine yourself driving around in a full-size vehicle like this as your daily driver. And then there's this red tint coat. Radiant red is what Cadillac calls it. I never would have been a fan of that, but it just fits this aggressive beast. And this 6.2-liter supercharged V8 that's putting out over 600 horsepower, this 10-speed automatic transmission that just keeps the torque up and keeps the rev band going and keep those gears banging out that beautiful exhaust note from the tailpipe. I just can't imagine any other vehicle ticking all of my boxes like this Escalade. And then for those of you who really want to push the limits of this full-size SUV, maybe you want to take it camping, off-roading. This air ride suspension allows you to lift this Escalade up to clear some of those obstacles that may get in your way. While I wouldn't necessarily take mine off-road, but it's nice to know I can if I choose. What else is nice to know? It's nice to know that at that light, waiting on the green signal, I can get in front of almost anybody I want when I press my right foot.